Welcome to the W. I'm Thomas Sherman. The NHL All Star weekend is coming up on February 3rd and 4th, and the rosters have just been announced to the public. Here's everything you need to know about this year's event. Starting in 1947, the NHL has had 66 All Star games in one way or another. The first format was the team who won the Stanley Cup the previous season would play the selection of the best players from the other 5 teams in the league at the time. They would start by sporting these jerseys, which stuck around for a while, and the designs were mostly based off these for the next coming years. The second format in the 1950s saw the league put Canadian teams versus American teams in a 2-game series in place of the All-Star game, which took place right after the Stanley Cup Finals. The East versus West format was put in place in 1968, which is the format most used in the All-Star game. In 1990, the skills competition was introduced. In 2016, the current format was introduced with a 4-team tournament being played, where the winners of the Pacific Division versus Central Division and Atlantic Division versus Metropolitan Division play in a final. This year's All-Star Weekend will take place on February 3rd and 4th in Florida, with the Panthers being the hosts. With the skills competition being played the day before the All-Star game, and the events not being announced until the week before, it lets you the records of competitions set in the past. Jonathan Drouin holds the fastest lap around the rink, with 13.103 seconds in the Atlantic Division in 2015. The accuracy challenge, where the time was only recorded since 2011, has Daniel Sedin with 4 targets and 4 shots, and only 7.3 seconds for the Pacific Division in 2011. The hardest shot was recorded by Zdeno Chara, with a shot of 108.8 miles per hour for the Atlantic Division in 2012, and Marc-Andre Fleury topped the save streak competition for the Pacific Division in 2018 with 14 saves. And the hardest record to break, and one that can't be broken anytime soon, is held by Gordie Howe, who appeared at the All-Star game 23 times in his career. But could any of the other records be broken this season? Starting rosters before the fan vote stand as, in the Metropolitan, Sidney Crosby, Johnny Gaudreau, Kevin Hayes, Jack Hughes, Brock Nelson, Alex Ovechkin, Andrei Svechnikov, and Igor Shesterkin. The Atlantic with Nikita Kucherov, Dylan Larkin, Mitch Marner, Nick Suzuki, Tage Thompson, Brady Tkachuk, Matthew Tkachuk, and Linus Ullmark. The Central with Kirill Kaprizov, Clayton Keller, Jason Robertson, Vladimir Tarasenko, Seth Jones, Cale Makar, Josh Morrissey, and UC Saros. And the Pacific with Matty Beniers, Kevin Fiala, Nazem Kadri, Connor McDavid, Elias Pettersson, Troy Terry, Erik Karlsson, and Logan Thompson. The fan vote introduced Artemi Panarin, Adam Fox, and Ilya Sorokin for the Metropolitan, as well as Rod Brind'Amour as their coach. David Pastrnak, Austin Matthews, and Andrei Vasilevsky for the Atlantic, with Jim Montgomery as their coach. Nathan McKinnon, Mikko Rantanen, and Connor Hellebuyck for the Central, coached by Peter DeBoer. And finally, Leon Draisaitl, Bo Horvat, and Stuart Skinner of the Pacific, coached by Bruce Cassidy. Players who I think should have been in the game, yet were not picked, are Jesper Bratt, Nico Hischier, Vitek Vanacek, Trevor Zegras, Jonathan Quick, Jordan Kyrou, and Alexander Georgiev. Players who opt out of the All-Star game are given a 1-game suspension in the season, but that won't stop certain injury-prone players who think they can make the playoffs and don't want to risk an injury. This is most likely after goaltender Jonas Hiller got vertigo after taking a shot to the mask in 2011 All-Star game, and Rick DiPietro injuring his hip in the shootout challenge in 2008. The jerseys have just come out, and with the tournament being held in Florida, they went with vibrant colors in pink and sky blue, with colors like black and white as the main colors. They also brought back the design of the 1994 to 1997 jerseys, with a star shape going around the entire jersey. I think these jerseys will agree with the coloring, but nothing will ever compare to the perfection of the 2011-2012 All-Star jerseys. This has been Thomas Sherman with the W. Enjoy the All-Star game, and back to the anchor desk.